to 54 African countries and beyond. Now, for 8 years, he was governor of the state, home to Africa's biggest commercial center and the continent's most populous city, Lagos. Now, for 16 years, he was in the opposition until he played a great role in ensuring the victory of his party, the APC, in 2015. Regarded as a national leader, an aficionado in the Nigerian political terrain, some people even regard him as a kingmaker. When the kingmaker declared his ambition to become king, it became perhaps Africa's greatest political story. His candidacy has not come without pertinent questions about his health, source of his great wealth, the reason behind his ambition, and his pre-political past. Although his antecedents have been regarded by his followers as impressive, becoming the president of Africa's most populous nation and the biggest black nation on earth will come with questions, as he and his party continue to try to convince Nigerians as to the credibility of his candidacy. The questions about who Bola Ahmed Tinubu never stops. Today on Politics HQ, we dissect, unpack the issues about who's arguably Nigeria's most famous man today and the candidate of the ruling party. Dele Alake, Advisor, Media, Communications and Public Affairs, Tinubu Shettima Presidential Campaign Organization, joins me on the show. Good to see you, Dele, and thanks for your time as always. Now, a whole lot has been happening. Good thing that you're here. Perhaps let's first of all start by talking about the campaign so far. How is it going for you and your party, the APC?
Thank you, Sulai, for having me as usual. The campaign has been going very well, quite interesting, and it's been very successful so far. Our campaign has taken on the initiative that has put our candidate and his vice at the forefront of this race. And everybody in Nigeria, indeed worldwide, believes that Tinubu is the man to beat. And that's why you have all the hula baloo, all the campaign of calumny all over the place. It's natural when you are the cynosure of all eyes, when you are the man to beat, when you are unparalleled in all areas of substance. You attract envy, you attract jealousy, you attract angst, animosity, and all kinds of pettiness, which we are witnessing today in the campaign. Don't forget tonight that our campaign has really stuck strictly to this principle of hammering on issues that affect Nigerians individually and collectively. Issues of economy, of security, of food sufficiency, of employment, germane issues. But what do we have from the opposition, from our opponents? Campaign of calumny, delving into personality matters.
We'll get there, no doubt. A minute here, no doubt.
An opening. That's just to tell you the success that our campaign has attained, which is attractive.
No doubt, we'll be looking at the campaign of what you have decided to qualify as campaign of calumny. But again,
I don't qualify it. That is what it is in English language. That's
okay,
what it is.
We'll come back to that. But I wanted us to start by looking at the campaign, the journey so far, and of course, now you've also said is issues based. You have an 80-page document of your manifesto. And is already in public space, and many are trying to better understand, what your candidate has for them in terms of economy, security, education, and the likes. But again, let's pick up, one sore point, and we'll also look at education because the lecturers strike and many others are still very much there, and as well health. But again, security is very key here. Let's speak to security first. Take that out of the book, your manifesto, and make it more lucid for Nigerians. Some still think that since the APC is the ruling party, it just might be almost impossible for your candidate to sell them, a pin code to unlocking the security challenge in the country?
Well, that's a very wrong view of our candidate, one. Two, if you look through, if people take the pains to actually read and digest the manifesto, they will see there, stated in no unmistakable terms, the path towards ensuring adequate security of lives and properties of Nigerians. Yes, I will not sit down here and deny that there are challenges in our country, just like there are challenges everywhere in the world, in all societies in the world. Now, Tinubu has said that he is going to consolidate on the achievements that are on ground and then resolve whatever remaining challenges there are by the time he takes over. Let us assume, and don't forget that the president, Muhammadu Buhari himself, did say that he is going to hand over a more secured Nigeria to his successor. Now, let us assume, just for the sake of discussion, that there are still pockets of insecurity by the time he hands over next year. Tinubu is well poised, quite ready, equipped to deal with whatever security issues that may remain after May 29 next year. And how is he going to do all of this? It's been stated. It's going to, one, increase the number of our servicemen, both in the police, in the army, in the navy, in the Air Force, in all coercive agencies. Why should he do this? And he stated, don't forget that the number, the strength of the army that we have, or of the military that we have today, is grossly inadequate to service the security needs of over 200 million Nigerians. So it simply stands to reason that you must increase the number of men, of servicemen, in order to increase the chances of adequately securing Nigerians. That's one. Two, you have to employ technology. In today's world, technology is it in every sphere of human endeavor. So Tinubu has stated time and again that he is going to employ top of the line, state-of-the-art technology, such as drones. Today, you can use drone to see very far ahead of you. So the military can employ drones to comb all the forests, the thick forests where you have all of these kidnappers, bandits, and all the miscreants and all the unscrupulous people that you have. You use the combination of increase in the strength of men and materials and technology to adequately secure lives and properties of Nigerians. There is no rocket science, and he has stated so. And I believe sincerely that if you have the political will, the courage, with the vision and the knowledge, which Tinubu demonstrably has shown everybody that he possesses, then the rest is easy. It will be easy picking for him to make sure that he implements all of these policies that he has stated in the manifesto.
Let me jump in here.
Economy.
Dele, let me jump in here because I see on the manifesto that is top, that is number one on the manifesto of your party, which you have tagged Renewed Hope for Nigerians 2023. And the good thing here is the Nigerians are saying two people, one on the state level and another on the national level. Both of these candidates have been tested, and the two political parties have also been tested, the APC and the PDP. Now, let us in on some of the things you think your candidate may have done while he served as governor in terms of rejigging security before we come to looking at education, which is number 5 here on this agenda.
Now, what Tinubu did with regards to security in Lagos was simply to complement the efforts of the police and the army. And also, don't forget that the kind of security challenge that we confronted in Lagos 20 years ago is not the same security challenge confronting Nigeria today. Yes, in Lagos at the time you had armed robbery and some internecine squabbles between ethnic groups and all of that, militias and all, like OPC, like all of those other, ethnic military groups, or what we will refer to as militias. But you cannot now translate that to the scope of what is confronting Nigeria today. So the mechanism that Tinubu used in confronting and subduing the security challenges of Lagos State 23 years ago will be quite different from what he's going to employ to confront the security challenges of Nigeria of today. Because the security challenges of Nigeria today are multi-dimensional. You have banditry, you have armed robbery, you have kidnapping, you have terrorism on the other side. Terrorism was not in Lagos at that time. Kidnapping was not an issue at all at that time. So these are new challenges that Tinubu, with his wealth of experience, knowledge, and courage, particularly courage, to effect whatever policies he's putting in place, is adequately equipped to take on all of these issues. So I will not, and this is the truth of the matter, I will not say he should employ the same mechanism that he used in combating security in Lagos State at the time for the security challenges of Nigeria. No, and he's not going to do that. The major security challenge of Lagos State at the time, 20-something years ago, was armed robbery and pockets of internecine squabbles between ethnics, what we call ethnic strikes, which was not even on a very major scale. But today, the security challenges are different. And the man is also, adequately addressing, and he has stated the policies that he's going to put in place to address these new challenges. That's what he's going to do. What you need, like I always say, in governance, really, is the knowledge, is the vision, and the courage to pull through all of those policies and translate them into reality.
Now let's bring the courage and vision to play here, looking at number 9, skipping number 8, and that has to do with health care. And for many Nigerians, the average Nigerian is left, at the beck and call of whatever crumbs he or she can get from the medical sector. As it is now, many people still wonder why it is that many Nigerians, and perhaps maybe your candidate and the president inclusive, would choose to go outside for medical attention. So what do you have in your document that may ultimately address this sector and turn Nigeria back to its days of glory, where people come from outside Nigeria to seek medical attention here in the country?
Yeah, thank you. Don't forget that in those days when Nigeria was a citadel, so to say, of medical knowledge and advancement, what was the strength of the currency of Nigeria at that time? If you could recall, it was very strong. It was almost parallel. It was even higher than the dollar. I recall as at 1982, or there about 1982, the black market value of dollar was 80 kobo to the dollar. The official rate was 52 kobo. So in essence, 1 naira was almost double the dollar. So there was enough financial strength to afford the equipment, to afford proper training, of the medical personnel. And the values in the society at that time was not as crazy as today's values, where people hanker after wealth, mindless wealth, where there is elite hypocrisy, which is a very fundamental issue in any society. Elite hypocrisy is a bane of Nigeria's development. At that time that you referred to, the elite hypocrisy was on a very minimal scale. I lived through that period, and I can tell you for a fact that even in school, when some of us were in the university, we had students from other Western societies coming in reading in Nigeria and being in the same classroom with us in Nigeria at the University of Lagos, in virtually all Nigerian universities at the time. Such was the quality of education, of health that we had. But what was the value system of the society at that time? The value system, the moral fiber of the society was high. It was based on hard work, on merit. So what we would refer to as meritocracy was really the pivot around which all other things revolved at the time. No more so today. The same elites that are crying foul today are the same ones that have denigrated, desecrated, degenerated the values of society. They are the same ones. For instance, one of your contending presidential candidates who says he's going to move Nigeria from consumption to production, whereas in the last 30 years, his own business survival has been on consumption, has been importing even toothpick, orange juice, ruining the economy of Nigeria. And today, he stands tongue in cheek, telling you people that he's going to move Nigeria from consumption to production. And some of you are lapping it up. This is the bane of Nigeria, elite hypocrisy.
So now we know the problems. I get you.
Tinubu is going to ensure that one, he is also an avowed and acknowledged wealth creator. So he is going to recalibrate and rejuvenate the financial system of Nigeria such that there will now be enough money to cater adequately for education and for health. In the area of health, to improve the equipment, improve the social services around medical personnel, such that there will be no more brain drain in the medical and the educational sectors. Now, if you go abroad and visit most hospitals, you will be shocked to find out that many of those personnel, doctors, surgeons, are Nigerians, because they have left Nigeria because of the environment that has been stifling. So Tinubu is going to recreate a conducive atmosphere for this medical personnel to stay, for the brains to stay in, retrain the personnel, and then put in equipment. But you can't do all of these things without money. So the first thing is to create wealth. When you create wealth, you then judiciously allocate the resources into the very, very sensitive, critical areas of the economy, such as health, such as education. It's the same thing in the area of education. Why is ASU on strike? Because they are fighting for remuneration, increase in allowances, in pay, and all of that. And in fact, in the teaching environment, making sure that the teaching environment is upgraded.
All right, I think I need to comment here, and we're done looking at this document, and you also agree that the document is in the public space, but we'll take a moment. When we come back, we'll be digging deep, looking at what you have termed the campaign of calumny, telling us what exactly these things are, and giving the answers to those questions that Nigerians have been asking about your candidate. That's when we come back here on Politics HQ. Stay with us. Well, it's the home stretch here on Politics HQ. My guest is Dele Alake. He's the advisor in media communications and public affairs, Tinubu Shettima Presidential Campaign Organization. And on, the first part, we decided to open that document, Renewed Hope of the APC. But now time for us to look at some of the many questions Nigerians have been asking. But Alake believes that some of them are campaign of calumny. And I just saw that there is a press release. Let's start off from there. And a press release you signed, specifically entitled Invoke Sanctions on Arise TV, Channels Television over what you call fake news broadcast on Tinubu Campaign Council. And of course, that's a petition you have sent to the NBC. Make clear what exactly this is about, Dele.
Yeah, Sulai, I was compelled, painfully as a media practitioner myself, to do that petition to the NBC because consistently those two TV stations have shown unbridled animosity and enmity against our candidates since inception, since this game started. In this political dispensation. Now, I will not, and I will never quarrel with any medium that has preferences, political preferences, because it's a free choice. However, that must not be brought to bear on your professional editorial stance at all. Even if you must support your own political choice or preference, you must not go out to deliberately denigrate, ridicule, and subject another candidate to opprobrium, public opprobrium. That's what Arise TV and channels have been doing consistently. And of course, we've had, I personally have had talks with the operators behind the scene to make sure that they see reason and to toe the path of professionalism. And some of us are practitioners. I'm a practitioner of the electronic medium. I've practiced in radio, I've practiced in TV, I've practiced in print. So I know the nuances, I know the principles, I know the ethos, I know the conventions. These people have breached every code in the book.
But there is an apology. But there is an apology.
And that is why we had to do that petition. Why should, for instance, Arise go on and be broadcasting a fake letter, fake INEC letter, for crying out loud? The first thing in journalism training is verification. When you have a story or somebody drops a hint or gives you a document or whatever, you must verify. It is elementary principle of journalism, for crying out loud. How can a station calling itself a public station, calling people to account for character, saying that it is for probity and accountability and integrity, and cannot even adhere strictly to the most elementary form or principle of journalism, which is verification? Why should you rush to broadcast a fake letter?
Well, INEC already, Dele, minute here, let me bring in this here so that we can actually move on. INEC already has cleared the air that is fake, and the medium has already apologized to you, your party, and your candidate.
And that's not enough. That's not enough. The apology does not remove the injury to our candidate, or to us, or to our party. It does not. Even the apology is tongue-in-cheek. It is flippant. It does not sound genuine, because I watched it. Look, I told you, and you know it yourself, Sulai. When you make a mistake as fundamental, as deep as what Arise did, you must show contrition. You must be genuinely and sincerely apologetic. And your apology must be robust, must be comprehensive, so as to elicit acceptance. But
political times we've seen how dirty politics can be, and I'm happy you started off by saying that
the professionals should not play dirty politics.
A minute here. Let me land with this. A minute here. Apologies, because we've seen in some states facilities are not being given, or some candidates are not given the freedom to use some of these facilities. But you would agree that these two stations, Arise and Channels Television, have always, at all times, given your candidate and your party time to air its views on issues.
You are begging the question, Sulai. I'm afraid to tell you. You are begging the question.
Because you said they have always. I go back to your statement. Because you said they have always been against you. And I say if they've always been against you, but they've always also provided their platforms.
No. That is generalization. They have not always done that at all. That's one. Two, the fact that some states somewhere do not afford everybody a free chance to utilize their services or the services of their media houses, it does not now obviate the unprofessionalism of any medium. No, that's not an excuse. And in any case, can you cite an example of an APC state that did not allow other parties to use their services? No. So that honestly is neither here nor there. The issue here is that these stations have committed an unpardonable, unprofessional, grievous harm against the APC, against Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and against our campaign. And I say with all emphasis that has been their hallmark since this dispensation started.
Well, usually apologies are accepted. Is there more to this? Because sometimes they say politics can get deeper than deep. Is there more to this? Why you're not accepting this apology?
Just as I've told you, if it was a one-off thing, then you could say, oh, it was an inadvertent error. But when something is consistent, it is no longer inadvertent. It is advertent. It is intentional. It is preconceived. They run an agenda. The agenda of Arise is to run down Asiwaju since the race started. And that has been manifest. Anybody, you don't have to be a professional to know that. Everybody knows that in Nigeria.
So
it's no secret.
For those watching us now, I want to lift a paragraph from that petition which you wrote, quote, the case in question, which did not indict our candidate, has since been overtaken by events after interrogation and correspondences between the Inspector General of Police at that time, late Tafa Balogun, in 2003, that's 19 years ago, and the United States government. The U.S. Justice Department, in a statement dated 4th February 2003, issued by the Lagos Consulate of the United States Embassy, cleared our candidate. The letter was signed by Mr. Michael Bonner, the consulate's legal attaché. Now, this happened 19 years ago, and you say it is the same document that has been resurrected against your candidate.
Yes, it is look, Sulai, this thing happened 2003. In fact, let me give you a background to this. There is, since 2003, exactly at the eve of our second term election, when Asiwaju Tinubu was going for a second term in Lagos State, that was when they first brought up this issue. And it was there to them to the PDP at that time. It was their last straw to break the camel's back. They had thrown every debt at Tinubu. They had thrown everything. They had done everything in their powers to stop him. They couldn't. The man was forging ahead. So they brought this as their last card. And when they played that card, it did not win. And that was when the party, the AD, to which Asiwaju belonged at that time, now wrote a letter to the Inspector General of Police, Tafa Balogun, to investigate that there was this document brought out by some, people, opposition against our candidate, that the Inspector General of Police should investigate the veracity of that document, whether our candidate then was guilty or not. So based upon the letter from the chairman of Alliance for Democracy at the time, the Inspector General of Police, Tafa Balogun, wrote the embassy, the United States Embassy, for help, to help the police to unravel the mystery behind that thing. So let the American embassy go through its records, confirm or deny whether Tinubu was actually guilty or indicted, as the PDP at that time claimed, flashing this same document. So, based on Tafa Balogun's request to the U.S. Embassy, the U.S. Embassy now replied, and that's the letter you have. The U.S. Embassy said, running through their records, the FBI records, which is a centralized system, that there was no record of any criminality against Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and that there wasn't anything at all in their records, not even a traffic offense, not a parking ticket.
Let's move on. But
let me finish. I have to put this in perspective.
All
right. After that U.S. Embassy letter, it was like pouring cold water on the PDP in 2003. And that ended the case. So Asiwaju went ahead, contested, and won the second term election. And that was it. However, since then, at every election cycle, whenever the PDP and any opposition against Asiwaju, whenever they felt their backs were to the wall and they had nothing else with which to attack Asiwaju, they always drummed up this same document. This is not the first, the second, the third, the fourth, or fifth times that it will come up. So this is why we are surprised that any medium worth its salt in today's Nigeria, particularly that is not peopled by kindergarten boys and girls who did not have a sense of history. Even if they did not have a sense of history, they have access to research to have seen that, oh, this same document has surfaced, had been used 19 years ago, 17 years ago, 10 years ago, and subsequent. So there is no issue and no basis for it being.
And this is where I thought. And this is why I thought that you should come in. You're the media advisor, right, and you're a journalist. Apologies given, one would have thought that yes, you're angry, you had done by this, but again, what next? Shouldn't they now, come back to common ground and say, well, never again, let's put this to rest?
That is the onus is on them to do that, not on us. It's not on us. We have done our bit. We have released the document that the U.S. Embassy released 19 years ago, which is in the public domain. And each time they brought this issue up, we brought that letter up and the issue died. This time around, they look, let me tell you, Sulai, they know that this is not going anywhere legally. All they wanted to achieve is the sensational effect. That's all. And to pull wool over the eyes of those who are ignorant of the American judicial system. And I'm even shocked that there are some lawyers who are also saying, oh, it's an indictment. It's not. How can it be an indictment? And Sulai, please, I implore you as a journalist to go through that document. You will see in that document that it is stated clearly that the case is dismissed by the judge with prejudice. And look, what does it mean to dismiss a case with prejudice? It means that this case must never come up anywhere globally again. That's what it means.
Well, the next one.
There are some lawyers who still say, like the pseudo lawyers of PDP, or their spokesmen, who exhibited abysmal ignorance of law, saying that something that was dismissed with prejudice, you are saying that, it is actionable. And that's why INEC dismissed it, that there's nothing like that. Apparently, INEC is more sensible, more logical, and more knowledgeable in law than all the spokespeople of PDP put together.
Now, let's that being done and said, I still hope that Dele Alake, we know you being a journalist, we also think as a media advisor, communications and public affairs, you should also mediate. Yes, your statement, your petition is out there. The elections and the campaigns have only just started. So we're looking forward to you having a robust, conversation with these two media stations and resolving this. But quickly, another issue here that Nigerians would want to hear from you, the closest was your candidate asking Nigerians, do I look sick? Now, tell us about the issue of health, because it's always popped up. People say your candidate is unhealthy. We had the Labour Party member who was live on Politics HQ. He also was saying that your candidate is not fit to become president. And you also had the headline when we started, the PDP saying that he should ease himself out of the race because he's ineligible.
It is the same thing, the same reason, the same motivations. Why would you want Tinubu out of the race? Because he will beat you hands down. That's it. There's no other reason. So they have to throw everything in the book, out of the book, at him. Look, and I again would repeat this. If you recall, or go and do a content analysis of the media, of the videos, pre and post the primaries, they kept saying, the opposition kept saying, Tinubu is ill, he's not healthy, he's not fit to run and all that. Whereas, and this I want you to go and investigate, there is no single contender today of Nigeria's presidency that traversed the length and breadth of Nigeria like Tinubu before the primaries. And his trips all over were reported in the same media that is also adumbrating these lies. He was going consulting, making sure that he was gathering delegates from state to state, consulting with the political stakeholders and the opinion leaders, traditional rulers, all the critical stakeholders in the polity. He was going around by air, by road. In fact, his deputy, Senator Shettima, did say at one point that he accompanied him to somewhere in Sokoto. They landed somewhere, and they had to drive about 2 hours in the car. And when they got to where they were going, he said he almost had cramps in his legs. And Tinubu literally flew out of the car and was walking briskly. And Senator Shettima said he was dumbfounded. Wow. Now, that is the man they kept saying was ill. Meanwhile, all of those people who said he was not fit, they did not go or cover half the distance that he covered in terms of miles, both in the air and on the land. And yet, they said he was ill. Now, fast forward, post-primaries, Can you recall which other candidate after primaries went round again to visit all his co-contenders in the primaries, seeking their support? Not only that, he has also been moving from state to state since then. And they kept on saying, he's ill, he's ill, he's ill. Sulai, the long and short of it is that this man is the man to beat. Now, envy, or let me say success, attracts envy. It attracts jealousy. Now, I am not perturbed that they are envious or jealous, because it's a natural phenomenon with failures. People who fail will naturally envy those who succeed. So the political failures envy the politically successful Tinubu, both in Lagos and on the national plane. Is it Atiku Abubakar that you want to say is healthy? Or is it Obi that cannot point at any enduring legacy in his own 8 years of rule in Anambra that is successful? Who amongst these contenders, amongst Asiwaju's opponents, can point at the people that they have developed as much as Tinubu? Who can point amongst them to enduring legacies, physical infrastructural legacies, as much as Tinubu?
Now let's close on
wizardry that Tinubu has demonstrated.
Let's close on this, and it has to do with talking or speaking to Nigerians. If an approved body that has always, conducted a debate comes, to your candidate and other candidates to come together to have a parley, a town hall meeting, a debate on issues, as you've said that they must look at issues, will your candidate be attending?
We will scrutinize closely the membership of such a body and dissect and analyze their political prejudices and biases before we can say yes, he will attend. I will not say categorically he will attend just like that without scrutinizing, especially with the latest happenings in the media world of Nigeria of today, with the latest prejudices exhibited by some of our media houses. We have to be circumspect. There is no point arming and empowering your enemy. We are not going to be empowering our enemies. And in any case, to lie again, what do you mean by, is it only through televised debates that Nigerians can get to know the candidate and to scrutinize the candidate? No. Don't forget that our candidate has seized the gauntlet and initiative by starting his own town hall series with the successful demo that we had in Lagos when he faced the business community in Lagos. Subsequently, he has gone to Minna to face the agricultural sector. He has been to Nasarawa, and there are others like that will be spread all over Nigeria. And these are critical stakeholders. And don't forget, Sulai, what are we talking about? Let us analyze. What is the eyeballs of all these stations that you are talking about? Some of them are only on cable, they are not on terrestrial, and most of the masses that vote, they are not on cable. So we know all the nuances. So nobody can pull wood over our eyes.
I think we look forward to having this conversation with you again, the same conversation with every political party, as you've highlighted. Ideally, every political party must have its day and its way, and of course, giving its stands. And that is why it's exciting to listen to everyone, including you. Dele Alake, Advisor, Media Communications and Public Affairs, Tinubu Shettima Presidential Campaign Organization. Many thanks for speaking with us here on Politics HQ.
My pleasure.
When we come back, it will be time for us to look at something for us to chew on the court. Now, time was when becoming a university lecturer was a dream for young Nigerian scholars. Lecturers enjoyed deserving privileges and lived in excellent conditions. Now, as the years passed by, their conditions got worse. The state of Nigerian universities became appalling, and institutions that were at a time the cynosure of many eyes became eyesores. And the men and women who made some of the most outstanding individuals to have come out of Nigeria and Africa got more frustrated and unhappy at work. On February 14 this year, Nigerian lecturers for yet another time commenced what would become a long strike. It was another statement of the frustration Nigerian academia has had to go through in recent years. Their salaries are paltry, hardly enough to take them home. Resources for research are thin and absent, and as a formidable trade union, they asked for their rights. The strike soon ended, and the money hardly came in. Now, shockingly, the Nigerian government paid lecturers half their salaries. Now, let's go to the seat of lawmaking in Nigeria, where lawmakers earn even when they miss sitting for no reason. Even lawmakers in jail make their allowances without a halt. But Nigerian lecturers who are rightfully calling for an improvement in their welfare are being paid next to nothing for going on industrial actions. What do you call that? What exactly goes through the Nigerian leader's mind? That's the cut. I'm Sulaiman. Thanks for watching.